In 1975, the inaugural World Cup of one-day cricket was staged in England between all the cricket-playing countries of the world, excluding South Africa. Record crowds flocked to the various matches played at all the major county grounds in England. The final between Australia and the West Indies was played in front of a capacity crowd at Lord's.
Normally you walked into Lord's and it was very, very staid and very quiet, and you didn't want to make any noise, you didn't want to, look as though you were going to enjoy yourself too much that day because you might upset somebody. You'd sort of almost skulk into the dressing room. But I can remember walking into that ground that day and being, bouncing in and almost being on a cloud just with the excitement that I experienced as we walked in from the street. There were plenty of people outside the gate still at that stage, and again many of them were West Indians, and there was music and there was noise, there were whistles, there was tambourines and drums, and it was fantastic.
In those days the real punters got to the game, the avid fans. We didn't have all this corporate hospitality, and we had a lot of support, and it was just a wonderful day out. Brilliant sunshine, packed to the rafters, and it was just magnificent. I will never, ever forget that.
Magnificent hook shot out of the ground. Superb shot there by Lloyd. The West Indian crowd on their feet. And that's hoisted away into the grandstand balcony. Tremendous blow by Clive Lloyd. He got it in no uncertain terms. Beautiful flashing cover drive, typical of the man. The bat raised, the crowd on their feet, and what a delightful exhibition this has been by Clive Lloyd. You couldn't really wish to see a better 100 than that in any form of cricket.
Going to Julian now to Ian Chappell.
Clive Lloyd's magnificent century in 100 minutes off just 82 balls meant Australia had to score 292 off 60 overs to win the World Cup. Ian Chappell was in full flight until a young Vic Richards entered the picture and changed the course of the game.
So the two captains here in direct opposition. And very close, yes, he's run him out. So Clive Lloyd, come on, throw there from Vic Richards, a delighted Vic Richards.
Andy Roberts. Oh, and there must be a run out here. He must be out. Richards again. Tragedy for Australia. A misfield there. The old rule of never run on a misfield.
Two men back now. There are the fields. I think that Ian Chappell will be having something of a dart at him. Well, there's plenty of open spaces. And again they're in trouble, and again he's run out. Oh dear, what a calamity for Australia. And it's this man Richards again.
I think my throwing arm was in good nick. I'll never ever forget that period, because having to run two of my heroes out, and individuals who have admired the Chappells, wow, it was like scoring 100 that day.
You would have thought we would have learnt that you shouldn't hit it to this fellow Richardson run. We certainly did in years to come.
Despite all the run-outs, some spirited batting by last wicket pair Dennis Lillee and Jeff Thompson in the fading twilight kept Australia's hopes alive.
It was getting close to 8:30 at night. And even with the daylight saving and the twilight over there, it was starting to get a bit hairy, because they got the Lord's building for a cricket ground, not a good colour, red brick. I mean, that's good colour, isn't it, right behind the bowler's arm. And the side screens, they never made them big enough for them bloody West Indians,
And it's holder to Thompson. And that's it. He's told him to go back. The overthrow off a no ball again.
The crowd around the ground, and we're running, Tomo and I, and the ball is out there somewhere. And I said to Tomo, just keep running,
It seemed like we were running for half an hour. He stopped, and there's Dickie Bird at the other end. He's shaking like a leaf, He thought he was going to get killed, And I said to Dickie, how many did you give us? He said, what, Tommy? He's shaking. I said, runs. He said, one. I said, mate, I've been running up and down here for half an hour. You've got to be kidding.
And Thompson, who's played so well for his 21. And he's out. It's a great stop, and what a way to end the match. And I've never seen cricketers move as quickly, gathering the sacred stumps. The charge of the brigade over. A win for West Indies here by 17 runs.
winning was important to us. Winning was important to us for a financial reason, too, other than, you know, just for the joy of it. It brought the West Indians together. You know, we were all a much happier people when we were doing well at cricket.
With the trophy in his hand, beckoning to Clive Lloyd to come up and receive it.
Taking in that moment, it was a tremendous feeling, and I knew it would do a lot for our cricket, and it did. I can remember because I bowled 12 overs too, got 100, and I went out for dinner and I couldn't sit down. I stood up and ate because I was so tired. I was really, really, you know, as the English would say, knackered.
I don't think too many of us were convinced that the World Cup had this great future until that final. Once that final was over, I think we all knew that one-day cricket, and the World Cup in particular, had a special place in the game.
It was the signal of what was to come. I mean, it was really the first day for the rest of our life, and then the new era of cricket, I feel, when I look back on it.